So, you know, you mentioned Cinco de Mayo Sunday, but tomorrow, May the 4th be with you, Star Wars Day. And as we know, Star Wars has a lot of movies in it, a lot of spin-offs and stuff.
Way too many.
So that brings the question.
Perhaps.
How many movies is too many movies for a franchise?
I think it depends on the movie, because I know for the Shrek movies, I know there's what 4 or 5 of them out there now, but they're usually pretty good. So I'd say if you can at least make some decent movies, I'd say you can keep going. Otherwise, it just depends. It just depends on the franchise. I know a lot of them usually make 2, maybe 3. And then there's Star Wars, which I think is way too many enough, because you have the Star Wars, you have the Clone Wars, and this or that, and it's like, how many?
Yeah, there's you know two series franchises come to mind when I think of how many are too many. And the ones that I think have perhaps too many are the Star Wars and Pirates of the Caribbean.
I
can agree. There's definitely quite a few Pirates of the Caribbean movies that have come out. I haven't watched. I think I haven't watched those, so they came out when I was too young to watch them. So
right, like I enjoy it. Pirates of the Caribbean, one of my favorite franchises. But the first 3, obviously in a category of their own.
Right.
And then it's like the other ones are like, it just feels like they just didn't put the same mustard into it.
They try to change it up, and when they try to change something up, a lot of times it doesn't go well.
Yeah, I feel like, if you can have something you can actually build a story off of. Like, Star Wars has a lot of characters with different backgrounds, so I guess that's kind of a stretch. But then you also, how long is too long to make another movie? For example, we were talking about 2 movie series earlier, Top Gun and Hunger Games. Hunger Games has a couple movies, but they were 2-parters, so I don't know if you can count those as...
Yeah. I would.
They're the same storyline, though, but separated. But
they pretty much just broke it up because it would be too long for one movie.
Yeah, but they just really, not Star Wars, Hunger Games came out, 2012, 2014-ish. I was in middle school, And they just recently released The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's, 10 years later. However, it's the background of, one of the main characters, President Snow. So it adds a lot of context to the movie, but we got that context
way
10 years later.
Exactly. I was, a fan of the movie series back in the day, a mild fan.
Yeah.
But I have not seen this new one because
you're just kind of out of it.
Exactly. It was way far late, too far removed, and I didn't care enough to begin with. The Top Gun, different story.
Right.
People were huge fans of it to begin with. 20 years later, people still love the second one, and there's a whole new fan base of it.
True, but they could have made it a little sooner.
Oh yeah, they could.
I feel like it didn't have to be. So I guess. I don't know. We don't really have an answer to this question today. It just depends.
It depends, really. I think that's kind of the key word there. So, there are movies where it is too many. There's other movies where it might be just right, and others where it might just be one or done or something like that. I know Disney's been making a lot of spin-offs of some of their movies lately. I know by then they're going through some stuff of trying to figure out, trying to get things back on track. They're going, I think they're running out of ideas.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think is too many movies. What maybe franchise you think need more movies or less movies. We
did not come to a good conclusion.
No, this one was a hard one.
I say if you want a golden rule, maybe at least start with 2 and see where it goes.
Yes.
Maybe start with 2, see where it goes.
Yes. Well, that is today's On Our Mind. But coming up, we'll have this week's edition of Homeward Bound with the Langlade County Humane Society.
But first, Howard is in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen with a recipe for something you're not going to want to be missing.